Mr. Speaker, Plan 2022, the 5-year strategic plan and blueprint for our public school system maps out a specific path for transforming public school education. Our vision is that all students are educated to lead personally and professionally, compete locally, and contribute globally. And our mission is to provide all students with equitable access to holistic, varied, and high-quality instruction that is culturally relevant and empowers students to reach their full potential. Under the strategic leadership of the Commissioner of Education, officers in the Department of Education have been working through Plan 2022 and executing on the adaptive and technical strategies detailed under the 5 strategic priorities of the plan. The department produced its first annual report on Plan 2022 activities in April 2019. The department is planning to have the second annual report for release next month. Mr. Speaker, yesterday at my press conference, I pointed out that the 2 long-term adaptive strategies in Plan 2022 will be the focus this year, namely Strategy 5.3.5 that states, to ensure college and career readiness, we will review the current structure of our schools, primary, middle, and senior, and revise for maximum student success, including the consideration of special school designs to meet unique student needs or interests. Strategy 5.3.5. Strategy 1.1.4.1 states, we will establish specialized schools in performing arts, science and technology, STEAM, sports, trades, and e-learning, or the projected needs of the community. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to share with my honorable colleagues the way forward for the execution of these 2 long-term strategies as it relates to 1, the hiring of a system transformation consulting firm, and 2, the role of key stakeholders in this transformational process. Let me start with the hiring of a systems transformation consulting firm. Mr. Speaker, recognizing the depth and breadth of the complexity of our public education system and its entities, during April and June 2019, the ministry hosted all-day colloquial meetings with the Department of Education technical officers and representatives of the Board of Education, Public Works Estate Section, the Cabinet Office Policy Strategy Section, and the Bermuda College, with the objective of developing a proposed vision for school redesign, including options for phasing out middle schools. The colloquium included presentations in the areas such as school enrollment historical trends, the physical state of our public schools, the need to reinvent teaching, learning, and administration, school enrollment projections to 2026, harnessing parent and community engagement, the current and capital costs of maintaining public school buildings, and new builds and the use of existing school buildings for redesign options. There was a consensus on the challenges faced and the opportunities needed to create improved programs and educational experiences for all of our students. A new quality of quality instruction, delivery of public education services that provide meaningful value and educational benefits with a budget provided, and strong leadership for student success. Mr. Speaker, the ministry could have answered these questions alone, but preferred a more inclusive route, one that included taking input from a small group, but knowledgeable and influential group of stakeholders with a close relationship to our public education system. The input obtained, in addition to further research and consideration, led to a decision to utilize an existing school redesign methodology and process as executed in other jurisdictions, but one that was tailored to Bermuda. However, in light of the existing priorities and delivery responsibilities of technical officers in the Department of Education, it was determined to issue a request for proposal for the procurement of a consultancy service for school redesign methodology and the introduction of specialized or signature schools. The RFP emphasized the need to contract a consulting firm with the requisite qualifications and proven experience in school redesign to help develop the design process for the Bermuda public school system in making the shift from 3-tier to 2-tier system. Mr. Speaker, while architecture and the design of buildings may come to mind to some, in broad strokes, system and school redesign refers not only to the structure of the school system and our schools, but more importantly to what happens within our school buildings, which includes high-quality leadership and teaching for our students, curricula and programs that are diverse and meaningful to all our students, positive school climates and cultures, physical environments that optimize learning and support and challenge the potential of students, and involving and engaging students, families, and staff in the development and implementation process for school design and redesign. Mr. Speaker, yesterday in my press conference, I also shared that the ministry has contracted with the consulting firm Innovation Unit Australia New Zealand Limited, an organization that is based in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and which has the requisite qualifications. With a proven track record of more than 15 years' experience co-designing processes and methodologies for educational systems. The 7-member team that comprises of Innovation Unit are a diverse group of innovation and content experts, researchers, and service designers with decades of educational experience in a range of contexts that include teaching, school leadership, policy development, implementation, system leadership, resource development, educational research, and learning and school design. The consultancy will commence at the end of March and extend until the school year that starts September 2022, roughly 2.5 years. This year, an estimated $950,000 has been budgeted for the overseas consultancy. Mr. Speaker, this consultancy firm brings the diversity of experience to the table, which will help us create a unique Bermuda-based solution for the Bermuda public school system that will be looked at with admiration from an international eye. They have experience working with educators and system leaders in the public and private sectors in Australia, South America, North America, Africa, and Europe on innovation strategies that build capacity and encourage the design and implementation of new school models. Some consultancy examples include work with organizations like Aga Khan Educational Services, or AKES, the French Department of Education, West Australia Department of Education, Good Start Learning, the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, the Association of Independent Schools in New South Wales, Australia, and the Department of Education in the UK. Mr. Speaker, the role of the consultants will be to help facilitate and manage the school redesign and design process for the Bermuda public school system in tandem with leadership of the ministry and encourage the design and implementation of new school models. Some consultancy examples include work with organizations like Aga Khan Educational Services, or AKES, the French Department of Education, West Australia Department of Education, Good Start Learning, the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, the Association of Independent Schools in New South Wales, Australia, and the Department of Education in the UK. Mr. Speaker, the role of the consultants will be to help facilitate and manage the school redesign and design process for the Bermuda public school system in tandem with leadership of the Ministry and Department of Education, the governance team, and stakeholder groups. Innovation Unit was very transparent in underscoring the need for the Ministry and the Department of Education to be committed to the redesign process from the start of the project to the finish. They emphasized that Bermudians are the guardians of the vision of the Bermuda public school system and essentially controls the direction of this system. As such, they expressed the need for established teams of Bermudians who will be dedicated to facilitating the engagement of the Bermudian learning ecosystem at all stages of the process, including the development of school and system redesign teams. Mr. Speaker, we will take ownership of transforming our public school system. It is important to understand that our future system will be designed by Bermudians via consultation with Bermudian stakeholder groups, and these consultants are being hired to guide all the stakeholder groups through this change management process. The vision for public school education includes elements such as an internationally accredited public school system that undergirded by a culture of restorative practices, a school structure and day that is responsive to the needs of students, upgraded infrastructures and improved resources, international leadership standards for school leaders, enhanced teacher pedagogies and the additional staff certification, improved and expanded support services, the phasing out of middle school and introduction of redesigned schools and specialized or signature schools, and improved leadership standards for the Department of Education. Mr. Speaker, for the past 2 weeks, I've held individual meetings with 14 stakeholder groups to share with them where we are with the transformation of the public school system as it relates to the execution of the 2 longer-term strategies in Plan 2022, which I mentioned earlier, and also to share about the hiring of the consulting firm to guide the system through this transformational process. Mr. Speaker, let me now share about the role of key stakeholders in this transformational journey. Many of you will recall the extensive stakeholder engagement that was undertaken during the development of Plan 2022. In addition to the numerous individual stakeholder meetings across the island, key teams were formed, the Ambassador Design Team and the Strategic Review Team, to review and design the plan based on the data obtained from community conversations. We intend to keep the same guiding principles of transparency, inclusivity, and engagement to redesign the public school system. This will directly involve our internal stakeholders, principals, teachers, and educational professionals in focus group sessions, and more broadly, education advocates and the general community in strategy consultation meetings throughout the process. Mr. Speaker, meeting with the 14 groups prior to today was deemed as a critical part of this first phase and sets the stage for the next phases. It was critical because it was important to demonstrate our commitment to transparency, inclusivity, and engagement in order to execute the transformative change our public school system needs. From our meetings, we were left with the impression that there is an appetite for change, and we all pledge to collectively work together to both pursue and achieve that change for the Bermuda public school system. While there are indeed questions at this stage that could not be answered, all acknowledged that this was a step in the right direction. There is much work ahead of us for the next 3 years as we work together. Mr. Speaker, the next steps in our plans will include the completion of the governance team. This team will be formed to facilitate the project management process and ensure the continuance of the school redesign project. The team will be led by Ms. Lisa Smith, the Interim Director of Educational Standards and Accountability in the Department of Education. Confirmed team members include Philip Butterfield, CEO of Bermuda First, Mr. Javon Roberts, the Deputy Chair of the Cedar Bridge Board of Governors, and Ms. Laurel Burns, mentor teacher in the public school system. We are currently looking to have other members join this team from both within and external to government. Mr. Speaker, the next steps in the transformation plan will include extensive participation and involvement of our principals, teachers, and parents, who will be key in helping to frame the redesign of the public education system. During the development phases of Plan 2022, our teachers and principals were authentically engaged in working strategy sessions using the design thinking methodology. This approach provided those two critical stakeholder groups with opportunities to contribute in a very meaningful way during the Plan 2022 project. Many teachers and principals were formally trained to facilitate focused group sessions, and we will be looking at how we can use that expertise already developed to facilitate sessions moving forward with this project. It is our deliberate intention to provide similar authentic engagement and working sessions during the system redesign project for both teachers and principals. Additionally, during the next few weeks, a parent survey will be launched on the ministry website that speaks to themes of school redesign and transformation models. The survey results will be used to help shape collaborative working sessions with parents to ensure that the expectation of parents on how we deliver education is captured moving forward. These types of parental engagement sessions will be an ongoing process during this transformative journey. We will advertise parent sessions on multiple platforms to capture wide participation. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I would like to emphasize that consultation and engagement will be critical moving forward to make this transformational journey a success. We will put our children and their future first. It only takes one generation to transform an education system. Let that generation be us, be all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.